A long time ago, in a galaxy far away, two nerds set out to make a show. This is that show.
Hi, welcome to Nerdity. I'm Shawn Mogwai Bender,
And I'm Kai Gremlin VonDoom.
and this is Nerdity. It's going to be an amazing show, so go ahead and stay tuned in, and we'll go ahead and get started now. First topic that we have on the board is what makes you more powerful, brute strength, magic, or intelligence / technology?
This is such a good question because it always goes back to those middle school arguments where everyone's like, who would beat Goku in a fight? Because obviously Goku's supposed to be super strong. But I always think magic is the most important. Because if you ask me who would beat anyone in the Marvel universe, I'm always going to say Doctor Strange. Because magic is a combination, I think, of brute strength and intelligence. When you can work people's realities, then you control the battlefield, in my opinion.
I think that's a good point. I think that when it comes to magic, like magic users written in the comics, I think that it's written so that their mind works a little bit different. It has you to be able to tap into that magic. So it may be that you could like give that person an IQ test and they might come out higher. I don't know. If that theory holds true, then I would say magic is like the strongest case to be made. Magic is probably top, but if that's not the case and basically magic doesn't make your intelligence higher because your mind's working differently, then I would say intelligence and technology. I think Iron Man versus Doctor Strange, I think if that fight ever went down, I think it'd be a really good fight. But you can see that Doctor Strange is pretty intelligent, so that's a case to be made too. But then say he was to face someone like Wonder Woman or somebody who utilizes magic, because isn't it her lasso magic?
Yep.
Okay, so if he was to utilize somebody like that, fight somebody like that, I don't know if she would be able to tap in the same level of strategy and game plans and stuff as her. And I think that he could invent technology that would counteract her magic, some way. Also, him being as intelligent as he is, he may be able to tap into that force and actually create weapons that are anti whatever they have going on. So whatever their weakness is, I think he can go against, because Lex Luthor always gives the whole Justice League a run for their money. And so I think that it's the same way. So I think magic user with intelligence is gonna be top of the pyramid. But if it's not an intelligence factor, if it comes down to intelligence, I think intelligence is going to be the one who wins.
Okay. I don't think Wonder Woman is a good example for magic because her lasso has very limited capabilities. I think if you were to talk about who is the most powerful with magic, you were to talk about somebody like Scarlet Witch, for example.
Oh,
But but I don't, because Wonder Woman's lasso just gets you to tell the truth. That's not that. You can't beat anybody with that. Not another superhero. But I think with intelligence versus magic, because I guess brute strength is completely out of the question, because without intelligence or magic, you could easily maneuver around someone with brute strength. You could easily figure out their weaknesses or trick them some kind of way, either through being smarter or through manipulating their reality. I think when it comes to intelligence, you have to operate like solely within logic and reason. And how the hell does reasoning affect someone who can manipulate your environment?
yeah, and there's a case to be made for that, because um, Thanos is a perfect example. He had the Infinity Gauntlet. He had access to pretty much the most powerful magic that is written. He beat the Hulk with brute strength. He didn't even have the Infinity Stones at the time. He beat Hulk with brute strength. So brute strength wise, he's written to be stronger from what I can tell. It looks like that on screen. So he had brute strength, he had magic. The only thing that he wasn't stronger in was intelligence, and he ended up getting beat by Iron Man, who was supposed to be one of the smartest characters in the MCU. So yeah, I would say that intelligence is gonna win that. especially when you throw in technology, depending on who the user is. I mean, of course, different factors could play in because any fight can go any way, especially in comics and like Marvel and stuff. But because I don't know, for instance, if Professor X could have done the same thing against Thanos or Mr. Fantastic, both very intelligent characters. I don't know if they could have done the same thing against Thanos. I'm just like trying to think through that in my head. If they had been in the exact same situation, if they didn't have the flight ability that Tony Stark had invented and stuff, they wouldn't have been able to do the same thing he did. So I don't know. Um, I do think it's case by case, but I think the combination of technology and intelligence definitely is a strong one.
Okay, Iron Man didn't really beat Thanos one-on-one, so that's not a fair comparison. Thanos was going against all of the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy, so that's not really a fair testament to Iron Man's skills.
True, that's true. Yeah, if they had went 1-on-1, Thanos probably would have like terribly beat him. But um, I mean that he played with his environment, so we don't know because he hadn't faced him 1-on-1. When he did face him with a smaller crew of people, they still almost managed to get the Infinity Gauntlet off of his hand. So, I mean,
But I think Iron Man, Batman, Black Panther, they all prove that intelligence doesn't really mean anything if you don't have the money to back it up. Same with Lex Luthor. If Lex Luthor wasn't so rich, he couldn't have gone toe to toe with the Justice League like he did. So intelligence
true.
by itself, you still need some type of backup. However, with magic, all you need is yourself and your brain and your magic abilities.
That's all good points. And so I think it comes down to basically I think it comes down to the factors in who the actual person is. Because some magic users I think could beat some intelligence users, and technology and everything. Um, and then the money thing, of course, you're right. That's a big factor. But then again, a magic user that had a lot of money might have a slight advantage. So I think there's a lot of factors to weigh into that. But if you were to look explicitly at intelligence, just say that that was the top thing. Um, and at least I think Tony Stark could pretty much beat a lot of people. Um, I mean, he may, it just depends on the scenario. I think he could beat a lot of people. Um, who do you think would win if Tony Stark was to go up against Lex Luthor?
I think Tony Stark would beat Lex Luthor for sure.
You think Tony Stark would?
Yeah.
But Lex Luthor handles Superman, and Superman's written like way stronger than anybody in Marvel.
Yeah, because Lex Luthor frequently encounters Superman. If he never met Iron Man, this is their first time meeting, I think Iron Man would win.
Okay, so first time meeting with no game plan. Well, Tony Stark usually loses his first couple of fights, doesn't he? That's like one
I
of
don't know
his
about
character.
him.
He has like character development in every movie that he's in, where he like meets somebody, he loses the first time, he learns from it, and then wins later. And Lex Luthor is pretty similar. So first time meeting, I don't know if you can necessarily call it one way or the other based on evidence from movies and comics and stuff. I don't know if you could call it one way. I would almost give a slight advantage to Tony Stark, but who would you say if say they had fought before? Say they both escaped with their lives, like they both escaped, neither one of them came out on top, and then they had like a year span of time just knowing about each other and preparing that whole year. You would still probably give that to Tony Stark, you think?
I give it to Tony Stark. I would say Tony is more unpredictable, especially in the comics. Tony is a wild card. So it's just intelligence versus intelligence. Tony is a lot smarter. He's more unpredictable. Lex Luthor is very predictable. And I think, especially since he's more in the public eye, I think Tony Stark would still have that.
That's a good point. um I would say I would have to give Tony Stark the edge a little bit because the Ultron thing. I haven't seen Lex Luthor do anything as big as Ultron, which was like worldwide. I haven't seen him do anything that big, but um he did make that suit, which was capable of pretty much, it had everybody's weaknesses on it. That one green suit he was in. In so he's done some technology inventing. So and then he's also good at learning people's weaknesses and capitalizing on that. And so I don't know. I think that would be a fairer fight than you might think.
Yeah, but I think Tony Stark is more self-aware of his weaknesses than most heroes. So I think he already would have safeguards in place. I think Tony definitely is more strategic than Lex Luthor when it comes to fighting.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you because I think Tony Stark is much more defensive than offensive. He's great at offense, but he's always thinking defense. And Lex Luthor is kind of the opposite. He's less worried about defense and more about offense, it seems like, from what I've read and seen in movies and stuff. He's like always the aggressor, always on the attack, always putting people in traps and stuff, and coming up with weapons that will attack them well. But I haven't seen him demonstrate excellent game plans for defense. So yeah, I think you're right, because they say defense is like the best offense, right?
Yep.
Next we have what's the best video game movie?
Hands down, Mortal Kombat. And I know that's a predictable answer for me, but it has the greatest theme song in the history of movies. That's enough alone. Anytime you even play the video game, you're going to think about that, yelling Mortal Kombat from the movie. And the acting is so cheesy that it's endearing. It's one of the worst movies of all time.
Right. So basically, when I was watching Mortal Kombat, I basically started making s'mores because the movie was so campy. I was just like, I'm in my element. That being said, that joke was a 10 out of 10. It was amazing. But that being said, the best movie I think could be, and for similar reasons, could be Resident Evil. Resident Evil series was pretty crazy, and the action was actually like entertaining the whole time. Mortal Kombat had a couple of flaws that I wouldn't give it best video game movie, but it was up there for like enjoyability. But I mean that's I guess that's a personal preference thing too. But I think Resident Evil edges out Mortal Kombat a little bit.
Resident Evil was definitely up there, but I think it took itself way too seriously. Mortal Kombat had ninjas flying through the air. There's like all kinds of absolute campy ridiculousness. And I just think Mortal Kombat is almost better than the games. Like Resident Evil, those games are classic. The movie, I don't think really lived up to the games. But with Mortal Kombat, the movie was so successful and so good that they changed the storyline of the games to actually fit the movie.
Okay, give me like 2 more video game movies. What do you think is like up in that top tier?
Okay, this might be a controversial take, but I think the Doom movie would go up there. It had Carl Urban and The Rock. What more could you want from a video game movie?
Okay, I'll give you Carl Urban, but The Rock is a pretty bad actor. I'm just gonna say that. It's pretty bad.
What video game movie has good actors? You want them to be bad actors. I want to see The Rock giving terrible monologues. I want to see the eyebrow. I want to see him running around on screen acting a fool. I just want complete trash. I want to get high as hell and watch Doom. That's a good ass Saturday night.
So to make a movie that you will enjoy, it just has to be the worst possible movie, and you're just gonna eat it up.
There's a balance. It has to be the right kind of terrible.
Okay, I feel you. What about Sonic the Hedgehog?
I have not seen that one, but I'm going to go ahead and say no.
I haven't seen it either, but I heard a lot of really good reviews about it. Like I heard that Jim Carrey carried that movie a lot, but I heard he did so well, and he's actually been doing pretty good in his element recently. That's a good one that we could address. What do you think? What's your favorite, or what do you think is the best? You tell me which way you want to go with it. What's your favorite, or what do you think is the best Jim Carrey movie?
Ooh, okay. I think those are definitely two separate questions, and I'll answer them both.
Okay. Yeah,
So
let's go into both of them because I think there's a different answer for both of those things.
they're wildly different answers. So the best is going to be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's such
Mm.
a, or maybe The Truman Show, but Eternal Sunshine beats it
Ooh,
just barely.
ooh.
But it's such a great
My
concept.
favorite or best?
Anyone can identify with it. My favorite is going to be The Mask.
Mm. Those are good. Those are good. That's like a solid point that you just made, man. And then you brought up Scarlet Witch. You just killing me today.
It's not
I feel like
what I'm winning.
a ant going up against a gorilla, and that gorilla is not even like happy about seeing me. Like, this gorilla is upset. This is not a fair fight. You're bringing up the best, but no, no, no. I'm gonna come in there and I'm gonna bite between your toes, and I'm gonna get a couple of good points in there because Ace Ventura is definitely probably my favorite, and I think I win points for that. The best. There was that movie 23, but it wasn't like the best. Eternal Sunshine was pretty good. I guess because those are him acting dramatically. Um, the best Jim Carrey movie, I think The Mask. The storyline was really engaging and entertaining. It flowed so smoothly. The camera angles fit exactly what it was. Everything was well done in there. Um, those other movies, Eternal Sunshine and the movie or 23 or whatever, um, they were straight, but they were like drama is less. Comedy is a form of drama in a sense because that's like the most depressed, saddest people are gonna be the funniest people, honestly. And so that's why I'm so funny. Is no, yeah, The Mask was really well done, and it's actually one of my favorite movies, like all around. So it's definitely gonna have to be like the best to me. Um, but my favorite is Ace Ventura.
Oh, I haven't seen The Mask in years. I have to rewatch it because I don't know if I would
Yeah,
like it better than Truman Show or Eternal Sunshine, but it is a
Truman
great.
Show. The concept was crazy deep, and it was like, and so was Eternal Sunshine. Both of them, the concepts were deep, but yeah. I mean, Truman Show. You have a good case for that being the best, but the Mask, I think was better done. I think so. Who's like in your top 5 comedy actors?
I would say Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder. Oh, damn. Definitely Jim Carrey. It's hard. I don't want to say, I want to say Maya Rudolph,
Mm.
definitely underrated, and possibly Andy Samberg.
Me, I would say Kevin Hart for comedy movies
As
for his
number
comedy.
one?
Hmm.
As number one?
I wasn't putting these in order yet.
Okay, I was gonna
Not for
say.
number one. No, no, no. I know he's somewhere on the list, but I know for sure he's not number one. I know he's probably up there in the top 5 for me though. Um, Kevin Hart, Jim Carrey has to make everybody's. He just was an animal all into his own. Like there's nobody like Jim Carrey. And then there's so many good ones, but there's also so many that play serious roles better than they play comedy. So that makes it a little bit hard. Maya Rudolph was a good one, but I wouldn't put her on my top. Tina Fey.
You think Tina Fey is better than Maya Rudolph?
Yes,
Interesting.
because of 30 Rock.
Sound racist to me. I'm just kidding.
It's not even a little bit racist.
Wow, you hate black
I
women.
think that if you
Speaking
were
of
to
which,
go
replace
back,
one of mine with Eddie Murphy.
I think if you were to go back like 200 years and ask the slaves and show them these movies, like this is technology from the future, and then show them these movies, they'd be like, would you vote on the white woman or Maya Rudolph? And they'd be like, well, this is a difficult one, but I'm gonna have to go with Tina Fey. I mean, that's just what I think. She's just so good. Like she's excellent. My Rudolph is good though. I'm trying to think of other shows that are like top tier to me. Oh, Steve Carell. Steve Carell is one of my favorite comedy actors for sure.
That's a good one.
So that puts me at 3. And I'm sorry that they're white, but I did start out with Kevin Hart. Started out with Kevin Hart, so not racist, man. I have a black friend. No, I'm just playing. I'm black. Who else? Who else would I put on that list? They gotta be good because I gotta top Maya Rudolph. Otherwise, I have to put her on my list, and now it's a point of mine that I can't put her on my list. Oh, Jim Carrey. Okay, so that's 4. So I just need a 5th one. Steve Carell, Tina Fey, Jim Carrey. Oh man, this looks bad. This looks terrible. Okay, so that's 3, and then Kevin Hart. I just think he outdoes like pretty much everybody. Oh, I want to say, but it's like because of current day, it's a little bit different. Because his movies got a little bit weaker, but still, I don't think he's fallen off. But Will Ferrell.
Those are good choices. I definitely would replace one of mine, not Maya Rudolph, with Eddie Murphy because you can't deny Coming to America. Chris Rock is also a runner up.
Chris Rock is.
Yes,
See,
and in his prime, in
I don't
his
see
prime.
race. I don't see
I'm
race. Chris
looking at
Rock is
each one in the
bad.
prime, not the whole career.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you take like their prime stuff, that's what I had to do with all those people. But I mean, I don't know. Steve Carell is so funny. I can see why he would get on that list above Eddie Murphy. And for me, it'd have to probably, now that you've mentioned Eddie Murphy, I'd have to put him up against Kevin Hart for my last place on the list, which is not because of the race thing. It's because these people are talented. But it'd be probably between Eddie Murphy and Kevin Hart. But I do think Kevin Hart has overtaken Eddie Murphy and gotten bigger movies, and a little bit, I can't say funnier because the concepts and like the way the movies are put together, he's played like 10 characters and every character feels different. But I don't know. I don't know if I can put him up there
I
above
think Kevin
Kevin
Hart
Hart.
was funnier in his stand-up than he is in actual movies. I don't think he's that funny in movies, but he's hilarious in his stand-up.
You think
So I
he's
think you have
funnier
to
in movies
separate the
than
two.
stand up? I think his stand up is getting really bad. I think when he first started, it was good, but it's getting bad. When he said the
Yeah,
Deerba
and his
thing,
movies were never good.
when he did the Deerba thing, so you're just putting him down the run.
I don't think his movies, looking at him just as an actor, I don't think he's that funny.
Mm. I liked him in Jumanji. I liked him in Central Intelligence. I liked him in what movie was it? The Scary Movies. He was funny in there. Um, it's a couple. He has a couple of hits. Um, and like the thing is, he has a couple of duds, but even like you know what was funny that this okay, you said you had a controversial take. This one about to blow you out the water. I think Soul Plane was a really funny movie. That movie was great. I love it. Like I sit through it and I just like
Great
enjoy
is
it
a
the entire
strong
time.
word.
Hmm?
Great is a strong word.
Great.
I was gonna let you go when you said you liked Soul Plane, but then when you said it was great, I cannot
You
excuse that.
said you said Mortal Kombat was great.
Mortal Kombat was the greatest top 10 movies of all time. Quote me on
that's
that.
that's Soul Plane for me. That's Soul Plane. Soul Plane is fire. I mean, it's not in my top 10. I can't do that to the movie universe, but yeah, it's not in my top 10, but like it's in my top 100 at least. And there's like thousands of movies, like tens of thousands. No, it's probably like a million movies out because there's smaller budget movies and stuff like that. So there's a lot of movies out, lots and lots of movies. And Soul Planes is probably in my top 100 for personal enjoyability.
Snoop
Um
Dogg is way funnier of an actor than Kevin Hart.
Snoop Dogg is naturally hilarious, but I don't think he's. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, because let me go ahead and put Eddie Murphy in there and take Kevin Hart out. Because he said that Deerbird joke, and that was so bad. When he said the Deerbird joke, he lost me like 100%. Not 100% because I just put him in the top 5 list, but he lost me like 75%. Pretty hard. Like what what kind of joke is a Deerbird joke? Okay, so that's a good question then. If you're gonna put where on your top like 30 list would you rank Kevin Hart, or would you even make it?
Top 30. Okay, if I'm just looking at acting, not stand up, I
No,
don't.
no, no. Stand up. We're talking stand up now.
Oh, stand up? Ooh, I still don't think I would put him in my top 30. He would be top 50. I don't know about 30.
That's a difficult question because if you're looking at success, he's like number one. If you're looking at success, because he sold out bigger arenas than pretty much any comic, and he's like a rock star, but in a comic form. But actual funniness, let's just exclusively look at that. Who actually like writes the best technical jokes or
Oh, wait a minute.
executes them?
If you're talking about success, I cannot let you negate the pimp Jerry Seinfeld. That man matches his sneakers to his Lamborghinis. Nobody has more money than him.
You don't think Kevin Hart has more money? We're gonna do some research
But
on
Jerry
this show,
Seinfeld?
guys.
No. No, absolutely not. Seinfeld will never have to work another day in his life. That's why he did comedians and cars getting coffee. He's like, I already have all the money in the world. I don't need this. Let me just drive around with my homies.
Guys, we're gonna pretend like we have a budget on Nerdity and we're gonna do some research. Okay. I'm gonna say that I'm not even gonna try and challenge this. If you're wrong, then we're both wrong because I just looked up his net worth. And it says at one point, oh, this is 2020. Yeah, in 2020, he had 950 million. That's gonna be hard for Kevin Hart to top with his lame Deerba jokes. But let's see. Um, Okay, Kevin Hart's not doing bad, but he's nowhere near Jerry Seinfeld. You had a very good point there. Kevin Hart is at 200 million. I'm a little bit shocked by that. That's a lot of money.
Jerry could live just off of the Seinfeld royalties for the rest of his life.
Yeah, so I mean, you're absolutely right. Off success. I don't know how much of that he made from stand-up comedy alone though, but Jerry Seinfeld is definitely probably the most successful stand-up comic. I mean, Kevin Hart's up there, but black comics, now. Let's look up Eddie Murphy because I think Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor may be the only people who are topping that. Okay, Eddie Murphy's at 75 million, so Kevin Hart has him top, which I'm gonna guess that he has everybody else that's black topped as a comic. That's pretty sad. Okay, Dave Chappelle's at 50 million. Or he was at some point 50 million. So Dave Chappelle's not touching Kevin Hart. And then let's look at Richard Pryor because I hear him quoted as everybody's inspiration. 40 million. Okay. And that looks like it's
Richard Pryor did die pretty young.
Mhm.
So if he was still alive, he probably would be topping the list.
What's that man's name? The one that was on Chappelle Show and he's older and he does like real aggressively anti like he does like real pro black stuff. What's that man's name? Oh, Paul Mooney, yeah. Paul Mooney. He's not making bank, and he's like, I think he's funnier than Richard Pryor.
But he was never the level of fame of Richard Pryor.
Yeah, but what would make Richard
Pryor was in big budget movies?
That's true. That's true. But it's weird how that works because Jerry Seinfeld currently is less funny than a lot of people. When he does that comedians in cars getting coffee or whatever his show's called, I saw him like interviewing President Obama, and a couple clips had big enough guests that it made me click, and every one it like disappointed me a little bit. But Seinfeld show was so funny. Seinfeld show was hilarious, but yeah, I don't know where 950 million came from. That's crazy. So where would you put Jerry Seinfeld on your list? Like, okay, so let's take success out of it. Just go on like technical ability, like delivery, and like how much you actually enjoy this comic, like factors like that. Who do you think where would Jerry Seinfeld rank on your list of best?
Jerry Seinfeld would at least be in my top 15. He basically started a whole subgenre of stand-up. That whole what's the deal with blah blah blah. Like comics still do that to this day. He set the template. That's why he's so rich. That's why he has more money than God and can match his sneakers to his Lamborghinis.
Cause like, let me get a loan.
Right, Jerry, let me hold a stack.
Well, the thing is, no, but okay, so if you were to take personal things out of it. I would put Jerry Seinfeld at like maybe 25. Like he wouldn't be in my top 15. I mean, he's funny and he did a lot, but like I said, we're taking the success out of it and just like the actual technical ability.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. His
Yeah,
technical.
for me
He
personally.
changed the face of both stand-up comedy and sitcoms. Like
Mhm.
his there wouldn't be half of these comedians that are around without Jerry Seinfeld.
I mean, that's a good point, but there's just, I think that there is 24 comics that I can name better. um Louis CK. Louis CK is an example of somebody who's freaking dope. Like his jokes are
Better than
hilarious.
Seinfeld?
Yes, have you
This
heard
conversation has to end right now. I can't do it. I'm offended.
have you heard Louis CK's jokes though? Like his
I'm
like
offended.
the actual details of his jokes. Like when he tells his jokes, he'll say little details that are just like little points he's saying are so well written. Like they're good.
He's not better than Seinfeld.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. The most Seinfeld I've heard is the lead-in to the show. I haven't like went back and watched a Seinfeld clip. I've watched the lead-in to the show and his little stand-up bits on there. But so that's what I'm judging off of. And I've actually watched full Louis C.K. sets. And maybe that's what I'm missing when I'm making that comparison. But I would put Louis C.K. like somewhere right above Jerry Seinfeld, and then like Bill Cosby. I think Bill Cosby outdoes so many people, and I wish that all that controversy hadn't happened, because that man, his legacy could have been like unmatched. Like I don't think
As a
he's number one,
comedian,
but
myself, Bill Cosby was always my personal arch enemy. Like it's bad because I was so happy when everyone else hated him as much as I hate him. Bill Cosby is not
what
fucking.
what makes comedians hate Bill Cosby? Is he not like funny to
I don't
people?
know if other comedians hate Bill Cosby, but I hate him.
I need to hear this story because he's such a lovable dude. That's Dr. Huxtable, man.
No, he was so mean to Richard Pryor when Richard Pryor was first coming up. He's just a bully. He's just terrible to every other comic. He's a hater. Bill Cosby is the biggest hater in history. Quote me on that. Every comic coming up, he'd be like, "Oh, you guys with your sagging pants and your curse words. Like, come on. We're grown."
He is pretty judgmental, but like, I mean, he was just funny. Like, I don't know, maybe, and that for me, it's coming up from the perspective of a parent. So those jokes are going to resonate with me harder. That's where Louis C.K. gets me, because he was talking about different moments about raising his daughters and stuff, and I could relate to everything he was saying. I could envision it, like it came to life to me. I was like, when he was telling the jokes and I was hearing it in audio form, I was envisioning that as me and my daughter. And so that like his
not
storytelling
everyone
was
has
crazy
a
good.
daughter. I'm never having kids. So if your jokes are only funny to people with kids, then I'm already out. So I think what makes somebody funny is being able to appeal to everyone. Seinfeld was a show about nothing. That was the tagline, that was the pitch. And it lasted how many years? People still watch it. This man can literally talk about nothing and make everyone laugh. That's a skill.
So is he, like, you said he's in your top 15. Is he higher on the top 15 or lower?
I would say he's towards the middle or the lower half of my top 15.
What's one person, we won't go through the whole list, or maybe we can. I mean, but who's somebody that you would put in your top 6?
Richard Pryor, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy. This is so hard. Because now I'm thinking about comedic acting and stand-up.
Yeah. Try and take the acting out of it and try and take the numbers of their like bank roll, like just based on
I don't know
pure
how
humor.
much any of them make aside from Seinfeld. I just know that man needs to let me borrow a couple cents. But Gilda Radner was hilarious. Bill Murray is funny. Steve Martin, like a lot of the classic.
Okay, Steve Martin's good. Steve Martin's good. And Dave Chappelle's good. But now I'm kind of seeing where you're coming from. I think you have a specific way that comedy hits you. storytelling to me is so important, and realism is a little bit. I hold importance in realism. So somebody who's really funny to me that I would put in my top 5, and this is, I'm not racist, not racist. Let me put that as a disclaimer, not racist. John Mulaney.
John
John Mulaney
Mulaney
is,
is so funny. He's in my top 10 for sure.
yeah, he's hilarious. Hannibal Buress.
Oh yeah.
I would put these
Eric
two people
Andre.
in. I wouldn't put him in my top 5. I'd put him in my top 20.
I
Eric
already said
Andre.
my top 5. Eric is still in my top 15.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and that fits with your lane and stuff. But now that I've said John Mulaney and Hannibal Buress, can you see kind of where I'm coming from a little bit?
Yeah. No, I definitely see. I think we have different versions of realism and storytelling
True, we've
because
had different lived experience.
I like grittier stories. I like more broadly appealing stories. That family life slice of life thing that Louis C.K. doesn't appeal. It doesn't appeal to me. I think a lot of people do it better than him. I don't think Louis C.K. is the best in that lane. I like to study all different schools of comedy. I like the really raunchy stuff like Samora and Tiffany Haddish. Then I like the corny stuff like Hannibal Buress. Like I like it all over the place. And I think in order for you to be in my top 10, you have to be the best in your specific lane in comedy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's kind of like if you talk about music, you're gonna mention certain music artists, like, and it's not gonna be from one genre. You're gonna have different people placing them from different genres. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know if I have like one specific genre of comedy that I like, but those people that I mentioned definitely are up there. Um, Jerry Seinfeld has a different lived experience than me, so I don't always relate. I think he's funny, but it's like I feel like if we were in high school, we wouldn't hang out. Where Hannah and I hang out with a lot of different types of people, but it's just like Jerry Seinfeld, something about him, I wouldn't go chill with him. But like Hannibal Buress is right along the wheelhouse of people that I would be associated with. John Mulaney, like once we started talking, he's just so naturally funny. Okay, let's just go for it. Who's probably your number one?
It's a tie between Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor.
Not Dave Chappelle?
No.
No, okay.
I think Dave Chappelle has kind of fallen off recently. And going back watching the Chappelle show in the 2 seconds it was on Netflix before it got taken back off, I think, and this might be a hot take, but Dave Chappelle appealed to kind of like the edgelord 13-year-old version of me. Like looking back, I don't think his jokes are that sophisticated. I think Eddie Murphy or Richard Pryor, you could watch them as a kid and get it on one level and be like, oh, this is funny because it's dirty. He's talking about titties. That's funny. And then be an adult and be like, okay, I understand the complexities of what he's talking about.
For me, number one, and then I have something to ask after this, but I might table it for a second because I'm really learning a lot about the way your mind works by your list. My top one, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I would slide in there, but I think this person is for me leagues above everybody as like my personal favorite or like one of my influences for when I deliver jokes or stuff in conversation, like who I think of when I'm trying to deliver jokes. John Mulaney is in my top 5. But a close friend of his and somebody who I think is like just for me personally, like I vibrate with him and he appeals to me a lot. Pete Davidson.
Oh yeah, Pete Davidson, controversial choice, but I think he's funny.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He doesn't have like misses like like how you're saying Jerry Seinfeld could talk about anything and it'll be funny. He literally talks about anything, and then he throws the darkest, most morbid stuff in it, and it's just so funny. Like you got to look at life like that, and maybe it is the perspective of a depressed person. That's what Jerry Seinfeld. That's what sets him apart to me. Is I feel like he's a happy comic. I don't know his backstory, but I don't feel like he had a lot of trauma and stuff. So I'm not going through all this dark stuff and then going to his humor and relating to it so well. It's like, wow, your life is really good. And like currently, what like when he currently tells jokes, That's what I'm saying. Like he's pulling up in these real fancy cars, and it doesn't even feel like he rented them. It feels like he bought them for the show.
Yeah.
I can't relate to that.
He currently doesn't do stand up. And I think, that's probably why. Because I mean, that is why, because he's so rich. He doesn't have shit to talk about. We can't identify with him.
Yeah,
But
that's
at the
why I
same
put Kevin Hart
time,
low on my list too.
yeah. But at the same time, I think for me as a comedian, what I want to do is I don't want my close friends laughing at me. Of course they're going to. They were there. They understand. They've lived the same experiences as me. I want to make the old white ladies from the suburbs who have never been to the hood and never lived these types of lives, like laughing at my jokes about my drug dealing cousins. Like
Mhm.
that's what makes you a good comedian. If you could get people outside of your situation to identify with you. Being identifiable doesn't mean we live the same life or have similar experiences. It means, okay, if I was in that situation, I'd say the same thing. Or I could see myself doing that in that situation. That's what makes you identifiable.
Yeah, and I would really agree. Because like I can't relate. Dave Chappelle used to be one of my favorites, but it was when he was in the middle of telling jokes. And a similar scenario at the time was Cat Williams. Cat Williams was up there. He's naturally funny, but it's like he's not a technical as technical. He's more physical and the tone of his voice and stuff. But the stories they were telling were like when Dave Chappelle said he would pull up into the hood and it was so bad that the wheels would be off his car before he could get out type thing. That was funny. Like it was a funny little scenario. I couldn't relate to that in any type of way because I've never been in that scary of a place in the hood or I've been in Arizona this whole time. It's like safe out here. It's not that much action going on. But yeah, definitely Pete Davidson to me. That's why he's my number one, is because he's always talking about his mental health. And I deal with it. I've dealt with this since I was 15. I've seen mental health conversations and stuff like that. And I think a lot of the world, that's why I don't mind being open about it and talking about it, because a lot of times when I just open up and say something that I experienced with my mental health, people will say, hey, I relate to that. And I think that's cool. And that's kind of what Pete Davidson is he lets you in and see the inner picture of what's going on in his life. And you, not everybody, but like a lot of people can feel like I have something special because this comic is talking about my life. So yeah, that's all. I just some of those people. Dave Chappelle moved down the list when he got like a $20 million Netflix deal, and that was like I can't relate to that. Certain comics get regarded as like the funniest, but Steve Martin is funny. That was a good pick when you said Steve Martin. Steve Martin is funny without being too relatable to me because I mean different race, different age group, different era that he was born in, everything was different. Um and so I don't relate to him that, but I think he naturally is funny. Um Somebody else who I would put high on my list, Robin Williams.
Oh yeah, Robin Williams was hilarious.
Yeah. Wanda Sykes is funny. I liked when what's his name? I know it's Childish Gambino, but Donald Glover. When Donald Glover tried comedy, that was pretty good. He did a good job. But I didn't like it like I didn't think he technically did the best, like he was the best presence or he carried it that well. But the fact of how good his music is, his acting is, his everything is, it was like for this just to be something you're trying, this you're pretty good at this. That's cool. Have you heard of Country Wayne though?
I have, but I've never seen any of his stuff. I've never seen his videos or anything.
Yeah, I saw a couple sets. He's pretty good. You should probably check him out. He's pretty good. So the next question that we have here is: do nerd references take away from your street cred in hip hop music?
I'm going to go ahead and say no, because I mean, Cardi B referenced Mortal Kombat in one of her first songs. It
Mm.
like actually had a soundbite from the game. Like I think after Kanye West came out and made all these anime references at the beginning of his career, a lot of rappers thought that was more acceptable. So now they pretty much all do it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't have anything alternate to say because Lil Baby had that song Yellow Ferrari like Pikachu or whatever.
Yeah.
That's I mean nerdy as it can get, I would think, and that's not. It didn't take away from his street credit at all. People still consider him street and stuff. Actually, it's it. I think it adds a little bit, to be honest. If you are supposed to be like hard, like modern day hard is showing your vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
The action heroes and stuff, you see that, and I think it's because we're going through so much. Not even before 2020, like since the Twin Towers, like before that it was like a whole different world, and then the Twin Towers happened and America just changed. And you see it reflected in movies and media and the music and everything. The era that the music or movie or whatever comes out in is going to reflect what's going on in the world at that time. And so since the Twin Towers happened, Hurricane Katrina, swine flu, all these crazy life-altering events that you can name happen. The crash, the housing crash, where I think it was 2008, where the housing market took a plunge. All that stuff, like showing your vulnerabilities has become more acceptable, as like you're tough if you do that. That's why you can see the Rock be sensitive, and he's like the biggest action hero. But yeah, definitely. So these nerdy references are not a bad thing. They kind of add to it, like, oh, you're the same as the comics, like it's relatable, and so many people are into pop culture. I mean, obviously, the biggest movies are gonna be stuff that has to do with pop culture. They're gonna sell out. So yeah, definitely using nerdy references is not bad. Now I don't know, for instance, if like I was listening to the game album and he's like, and I rolled the dice on my D&D character and they pulled out the magic wand, I'd be like, whoa, that was I don't know how hard
I
the game is, but
I think it depends on who it is. Like, doesn't Vin Diesel play D&D and Joe Manganiello? And I don't think anybody would call them soft for that. And I think it's kind of like, and I'm going to prove that I'm from New York with this example, but it's like when Cameron started wearing all pink. If other rappers were wearing pink before them, people would call that sus or kind of soft or whatever they have to say. But like, who's going to check Cameron? Nobody. And it's like, Denzel Curry, when he mentions Naruto and like Dragon Ball Z and stuff in his songs, people are like, "Oh, this guy's a dork." But like you said, if the game were to mention D&D, I don't think people would really check him on it.
true. I mean, you might be scared to, but but I mean, like it might mentally change how you feel about him, or it might not fit his brand. That I think that's all it is what you brand yourself as. So if you come in the industry not talking about this stuff, it's probably a good idea to not suddenly switch over and like rap over them. What's that I'm a Barbie girl, like don't rap over that if you're like Snoop Dogg or something. Like that's gonna throw off people. But if you came in the industry and you're Kanye West and you're sensitive and you're crying and you're talking about your what Donda is his mom or his grandma,
His
um
mom.
his mom, yeah, if you're doing stuff like that and really exposed, like expressing your feelings and openly telling people that you're getting hospitalized for suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. If you're that guy, then it's okay, I think, and you can still be street or you can still be urban and whatever with those type of references. But I think it depends on the who you are.
Well, Kanye didn't start off as a sensitive guy. He didn't become. He had a few albums out and already had a career as a producer when Donda died, and that's when he shifted. His mom died, and it was very public, and his fiance left him, which was very public. So
Mhm.
then, instead of just kind of hiding it, he completely shifted his career. So I think people who are established one way can do a turnaround. They just have to do it the right way.
Yeah, that's a good point. So next on the list of things that we have here, what is the most powerful ring between the Green Lantern's lantern, that ring he wears that you can imagine something and make it as long as you have the energy for it, whatever, and the One Ring.
I'm gonna go, and this might be a hot take, but I'm gonna go with Green Lantern's ring.
Green
It
Lantern
has
ring?
cosmic power that I think is more powerful than anything made on Earth. I think the Green Lantern's ring could definitely contain the One Ring easily.
What are some abilities? I'm gonna type it while I speak. Some abilities of the One Ring. You know any? I know it can make you invisible.
Yeah, I know that one. Let me see.
Okay, it says it increases the bearer's own natural abilities, seemingly granting magic abilities. So, I guess a good way to look at this would be if you took Superman, just the most high-powered person, and cloned him. So there was two Supermans standing there, and you gave one the One Ring and one the Green Lantern ring, and they're exactly equal. So, not like doesn't matter that one's a clone; they're exactly equal. They have the same powers and everything. If you gave one the One Ring and you gave one the Lantern, like who's gonna win that fight? Um, I think from what I saw in the Lord of the Rings movie, there's nothing to tell me that the One Ring would beat what I saw in Green Lantern. But the fact that it enhances your natural abilities, that's a pretty drastic thing. So I think I'm gonna say it depends on the wearer.
Yeah. The One Ring, I think the only time it would be more powerful than Green Lantern's ring is the example you gave with Superman. But I think if a regular person got the One Ring and Green Lantern's ring, it would be Green Lantern hands down
Mm.
because the
Well,
One Ring is limited to the wearer's capabilities. However, the Green Lantern ring has almost infinite possibilities depending on your imagination.
what are some stuff that you would make if you were to get the lantern, the Green Lantern's ring?
I definitely use it like Wonder Woman's invisible jet. I just fly everywhere.
I make myself like some sandwiches.
You make sandwiches. So would you use it to like make a butter knife and spread mayonnaise and condiments, or would you actually make a Green Lantern sandwich?
Poop, there's a sandwich, and then it'd be like whatever I want, like peanut
I
butter.
don't know if you'd be able to eat it though.
Oh, true. That was not that good of a example, but it
You
was a
tried it.
solid punchline. I liked it. I'll I'll
You tried. That's
I'll
all
give
that
myself
matters.
that. I'll give myself a pat on the back for the sandwich joke.
Ooh.
What would you do if you had the One Ring and you could go invisible?
I would rob banks.
Yes, that's the logical answer to go with there. Rob Banks. If they can't see you, is it really robbing?
Yeah, it's definitely still robbing.
It's
I'm still
like
stealing money.
it's like people say, if you don't get caught, was it really a crime? I'd go places without wearing my mask. That's what I would do. I'm sick of this COVID stuff. Just walk
Being
around the store
invisible
without
won't
a
stop
mask
you
on.
from getting COVID. I'm sorry to say.
It enhances your natural abilities. Enhance my immune system. Might be good.
I don't know if it works like that.
And we have a couple more topics here, so we're gonna get onto a really good one. And this one, I'm really interested to hear your take on this. What character? And we'll say two. We'll go two ways with this. What character should and what character should not get the mask? What would be a good character to get the mask, and what would be a terrible character to get the mask? Go with who should not first.
Who should not? I'm gonna go with my namesake and say Doctor Doom should not get the mask.
Ooh, that would be twisted. Like a lot
Yeah.
of evil characters should not get the mask, but I'm trying to think of like who particularly is like particularly dark and evil and like already powerful. Thanos should not get the mask for sure. That would be bad. Imagine him bouncing around the walls in cartoon form and all that. That would be crazy. Like, no, that wouldn't be good. Um, I know Loki got it on the movie, but that was a different Loki. So Loki from Marvel shouldn't get it. That yeah, those are who I can think of honestly. Um, Thanos probably should not get the mask. On Siths, no Siths should get the mask.
Definitely not.
Darth Vader with the mask, that wouldn't be funny at all. That would not be entertaining. That would be horrible. But who should get it? Like, who, if they got it, would it help their universe out a whole lot?
That's a hard one. I want to say maybe Black Widow. It'd be interesting.
Yeah,
to see her with it.
they should get that just so that they don't have a weak chain anymore.
Yeah. Give her some abilities.
I wonder if you actually type in like what is Black Widow's superpower, what does it say? Like it has to say like charm or something. Like there's no
I mean, isn't that what James Bond does? He charms people to get his way. It's a valid skill.
But James Bond shouldn't be in the Avengers, should he?
Why not?
I mean, I guess if Black Widow can be in the Avengers, James Bond can be in the Avengers, but I don't think either of them should be there. Those are superheroes, man. You're talking about people. Like, these are gods, and like you're saying that an almighty god, like a god of a whole civilization, the civilization reveres and prays to this person, and then that person is in the same team as a spy.
If that's the case, Batman should not be in the Justice League.
He should. He at least has the suit and technology and stuff, and he's really
and Black Widow can fight.
Black Widow can fight, but I'm pretty sure Batman could beat a Black Widow.
Hand to hand, no.
Well, maybe without the suit. He did do pretty well against Bane, and Bane was pretty crazy. But Bane messed him up. I'm not even gonna lie. Bane messed him up. He broke his back. I've never seen a superhero get their back broken in a movie.
Yeah, that was wild.
Do you think Batman would make it very far in the Marvel Universe?
No.
No. I don't think you would make it that far in DC, but I mean,
Batman is just a hyped up cop. That's all he is. He'd be pretty useless on the Avengers.
So he should be doing asset protection at a store or something, right?
Exactly. Batman a mall cop. He's Paul Blart of the comic book world.
The dude's running out with the sandwich. He grapples him to the roof and like kicks him in the chest or something, like all violent. Man, that would be pretty bad. Yeah, but Batman definitely doesn't need to be a superhero. He's not a superhero. I agree with you there.
Well, another character I would like to see get the mask would be King from Tekken. I think that would be interesting, just with his fighting abilities in the game. Plus, he has like the leopard head and the tail. I think it would be funny.
Yeah. Who's your go-to in Tekken?
Definitely Law. I always pick the Bruce Lee type of character.
Law is
I like
crazy.
Nina as well.
I do pick Law a lot. My go-to is Eddie, though. So now who's the racist?
Well,
hey, got him. Yeah, Eddie. Eddie is hard. I love Eddie. Eddie's combos and everything is so fun to play, and the way he'll spin kick and all that. Eddie's so cool. But who is it? There's somebody else I always pick. Oh, that girl. Oh, that's Dead or Alive. I'm tripping. Alice or something. I don't know her name. There's like a girl in there who wears like a dress. She's pretty good, but that's not Dead or Alive. Okay, and then let's see what our last topic was. That one was a good one. Okay, this was a good one to discuss. Is it worth getting a next gen console at this point?
I would say no. I cannot name 3 games on either the PS5 or the Xbox that I want at this point that I can't get on my Xbox One. So I don't see the point in spending all that money. I'd rather just wait a year.
But don't you want to be cool?
I'm already cool, baby. My last name is VonDoom. Who's cool? I own 3 leather jackets.
I think it might be because the graphics. Like I would love to see all my games get that graphic overhaul and just play at 4K and everything. I mean, if you have a 4K TV and you have the sound system and you have enough to afford it, why not? If it's a struggle for you to afford it, just stick with the old consoles or go out and get them. But if you have enough, yeah, there's no reason not to, because I've heard the gameplay is really good. They said something like it was at like 100,000 triangles on the screen that they could transpose with, and now it's at like 10 million or something like that. Don't quote me on that. So if you know what you're talking about, you can tell that I don't. Uh, don't judge me. I still, I'm still pretty cool. Still pretty cool. Not as cool as VonDoom, but I'm
Look, all my friends are broke boys, so they won't have the PS5 to play with me. I have student loans. I have rent. I pay all my bills by myself. I'm not getting a PlayStation 5. I'm waiting until next Black Friday so I can run over somebody's child with my cart and get that deal on it.
wow, mommy, that lady over there just ran me over and said some stuff about how I'm a colonizer.
Exactly, reparations.
Reparation. Oh boy. But yeah, so it could be worth it. And I'm not gonna lie, I want to play on it. I haven't got a chance to, but I want to. Like, I want to get down on some PS5 or whatever, but Xbox. I want to get down some Xbox. What do you like better, PlayStation or Xbox?
Typically, I go with Xbox.
Okay. Got a solid head on your shoulders. No, uh, I don't know what people pick PlayStation for. It's like a worse console.
They're bandwagoners, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
That's
It's
like
like,
people who buy, and you might be one of these people, but that's like people who buy iPhones every year.
nope, I'm team Android all day.
Okay, thank you, thank
I'm
you.
not gonna
Androids
pay
are
a
the way to
thousand
go.
dollars for a phone, and then 2 years later, it's obsolete. They're slowing down the phones. Like it's been proven that they do this. They slow down the old iPhones. So it's like it's not worth it.
Yeah, and Android's the way to go. Galaxies just are superior to iPhones. Even like a couple generations back, Galaxies, like you
Yeah,
can whip them out and like do everything that an iPhone can do now, except for I don't know about this new iPhone 12. The camera on it, because I did go to film school and stuff. The camera on the new iPhone, I would like to get my hands on that, but I'm pretty sure the new generation Galaxies are gonna have probably a better camera.
for sure.
So I mean, if that's the only factor, then that's not that good of a one to even say, because Galaxy's cameras look pretty spectacular. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we have next here. I'm going to go into these last two here, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up there. Um, what do you think would be a good guest character for Soulcalibur, since we're on the topic of those type of games?
Okay, so for Soulcalibur, it would have to be a swordsman. So I would say I would want to see um, the main character from The Princess Bride. I think it would be funny. It's such a successful movie. Everyone loves The Princess Bride. It would throw people off. I think it would be just as shocking as when they put Yoda in Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's it's supposed to be sword characters, but they had that dude from Tekken in there. Um, who was it? I don't remember. They had a Tekken character in SoulCal one time. So you could technically, if you had the right fighting style and they had the right setup, you could bring somebody else in there. But then it has to be balanced. So like Superman can't go into SoulCal. That's just that game
Yeah,
wouldn't be fun anymore. Imagine how crazy that would be though. Like just walks in and zaps somebody like across the map and they're dead instantly. Yeah, that wouldn't be very fun. But I think that if you could make the mechanics right, or I don't know, but I think Wolverine would be appropriate. I think he would fit, but I think he's a little bit too gritty and dark of a character. I don't know, but Wolverine would be cool. Maybe Captain America with his shield.
That would be interesting.
But then again, he's pretty strong too.
I would want to see Beatrix Kiddo from Kid Bill
Mm.
or Kill Bill because she has the katana, so she's already a swordswoman. She's a very recognizable character with the yellow and black jumpsuit. I think she would fit in.
And she's white. I pick Blade. Yeah, I pick Blade. That's who I pick. Boom. Drop the mic. I win.
Okay, you're no longer racist. I'm the racist one now.
Get all the points for the evening. Yeah, Blade. I think he'd be sick in there. And that's a really appropriate choice. He'd be cold, like his action style and everything. He'd be awesome to watch. Okay. And then so yeah, those are solid picks. And honestly, the reason I'm cutting this topic short is because I can't think of that many sword fighting characters that would be interesting in there. So
What about Jack Sparrow?
oh, that'd be sweet. He'd be like Raphael, but yeah, that'd be sweet. That's actually a really good one. I'm not gonna change because I'm not gonna be dragged into your lane, just picking people who aren't our people. Power to the people. But definitely Jack Sparrow would be a good one. But Blade still, my guy.
Yeah, that's definitely a good choice.
Your
first correct answer of the night.
And then last question here. Who would win between Voldemort and Gandalf?
Hands down, Gandalf.
You think so?
Voldemort is not smart, in my opinion. Like by creating the Horcruxes, like you did all of that and you didn't even get close to infinite life. You got defeated by a child. So his whole plan was crumbled apart by this child. I think Gandalf could easily beat him.
What's the spell? There's one spell, I don't remember what it's called, but like they walk up, they say it, and then the person dies. They just point the wand, they say it, and the person dies. I think that if Voldemort can use that spell, and then he's like a really strong magic user, I mean, he's gonna give Gandalf a run for his money. Of course, Gandalf would have anti-curses, so he probably would survive that. I'm guessing that Gandalf can do Patronus and stuff, so just based on how adept he is at magic, those are both really strong magic users. You'd give the edge to Gandalf. I don't know if I'd give the edge to Voldemort or not, but he was pretty remarkable in what he did. And also, I can't like Gandalf's version of magic was like the light thing, like he lit up his wand type stuff, and I mean his staff or whatever. But then again, he did die and come back after fighting the Gorgrog or whatever, that big monster thing. That thing was scary when I was a kid. But yeah, he came back to life. So I mean, I'm guessing it's like, I mean, it is basically like Jesus fighting Voldemort. So but yeah. So I mean, I think it'd be a good fight, but I think you're right. Gandalf would give him a run for his money and pretty much tear him up. But you said hands down, and I'm not going to give him hands down.
Gandalf, I mean, like you said, he died and came back. He's lived a lot longer than Voldemort and has more experience using magic than Voldemort does. He's also less impulsive and angry. I think Voldemort's anger really gets the best of him.
The wizard, I think, would really win in this fight. Not in this fight, but just if they were to all fight, basically, is that dude with the robes, the black dude, the bald guy on one of the movies, from Harry Potter, because he's black, I think he might win.
Just throw Samuel L. Jackson in there, he'll win. Random black guy.
Black guy because
okay, you picking tokens now. I feel like we're back on the racist side.
It's not. I had switched over. But yeah, I got to redeem myself from all my comedian choices. But no, on a serious tip, I do think I do think Voldemort. I do think Voldemort because that kill spell. I don't know how you can stop that unless with Gandalf's version of magic. I don't know how you can stop a kill spell that because that world of magic is more in depth written. The world of Lord of the Rings has really deep stuff to where he even wrote the language and stuff. And I don't think they have languages in Harry Potter. No, they don't have any languages. So I think the writing itself was better on um
On Lord of the
Lord of the
Rings.
Rings as
Yeah.
well. J.K. Rowling's is supposed to be a transphobe, so we can't I mean we can't give her a character that. No, we can. Don't we can't put that in there, people's personal life. But yeah. Um that kill spell I think puts Voldemort over the edge.
I
But
think Gandalf would somehow find a way around it.
yeah, he's really intelligent. He's really intelligent. So that's I mean, there's a case to be made for that. He got them out of so many situations and he beat a whole army of orcs with like two short guys and a blonde pretty boy and decrepit like ranger dude. And it wasn't decrepit, he was cool. I'm just trying to take points away from them, but I mean he worked with what he had and did a lot and united a lot of civilizations and he did a lot of stuff. So um I'm gonna say one-on-one with that kill spell, Voldemort has a really good chance. But if you're taking his Dark Army and the Death Eaters and all that stuff, I would say Gandalf would probably win because he's a better like strategizer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for sure. But anyway, so that's our questions for the night, and we've reached our time. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off here. Again, I'm Shawn Mogwai Bender,
And I'm Kai Gremlin VonDoom.
and have a good evening, guys.
Bye.